KTFM Floresville and SASportsStar.com. San Antonio's Sports Center.
Well, in the NBA tonight, it's rivalry weekend as the San Antonio Spurs return to the court to open up a 7-game homestand against the Oklahoma City Thunder. Questionable with a sprained ankle. Tip-off set for 8:30 from the Frostbank Center. It'll be televised on ESPN. Texans offensive coordinator Bobby Slowick's going for a second interview with Atlanta this week. And the big news of the day, Jim Harbaugh to the Chargers.
This is Extra Innings with Pleasure.
Truth is, I am Iron Man.
Rock and roll! The Texans win it!
You've been called the Da Vinci of our time. What do you say to that?
Absolutely ridiculous. I don't paint.
That ball is history. A walk-off home run.
And it's going to be legendary.
James Pledger wraps your day with insight, opinion, plenty of sarcasm, and of course, your calls. He'll even pour a beer out the door for his favorite story of the day. This is Extra Innings with Pledger. Now, here's Pledge. What's up, Dad? Can't stop me now.
Welcome into Extra Innings with Pledger right here on San Antonio Sports Star, 94.1 FM, SASportsStar.com. My goodness gracious, what a bomb to drop as we get set to kick off the show here. Jim Harbaugh leaves Michigan after winning a title and being suspended twice in 1 year, as he is now headed to the Los Angeles Chargers to pair up with Justin Herbert, Joey Bosa, Derwin James, Asante Samuel Jr., Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, and the plethora of weapons available with that team. He's going to a stacked roster. I think that will be a very quick turnaround. Welcome into Extra Innings with Pledger. I am James Pledger. Appreciate everybody for joining me, however you may be doing it, whether it's 94.1 FM, whether it's at SASportsStar.com, or on our YouTube channel at SA Sports Star, where you can like, subscribe. You can also follow along with the show on X. You can post me at I Am Pledger, the station at SA Sports Star. That is both Twitter and on Instagram. I appreciate everybody for joining in today. The comments are already rolling. I saw Fred Records, Jacob Eric, Fred Robert Casares Jr., Goldfinger 123. Good question from Goldfinger 123. I'm going to get to Lloyd, my friend who is a great Charger long-suffering fan. Finally, something to get excited about. And I'll tell you this, be excited because it is already starting at a better spot than the Texans did last year. But I will tell you, the feeling, at least the fit with him being a former Charger and just his previous success in the league, on top of the fact of how impressive of a candidate he is, what he's done at multiple stops along the way, Michigan and San Francisco. Man, that has D'Amico Ryans vibes, like I felt last year when he was hired. It was the perfect hire. It was a leader of men. It was a guy that you knew that was going to give you that opportunity to restore the franchise that had a bunch of stink on it. And because of the Spanos family, this has a bunch of stink on it, this franchise, because they're thought of as cheap, unwilling to spend money. They've busted out the bank, made Justin Herbert the highest paid quarterback at the time. Joey Bosa got paid. And now you're paying Jim Harbaugh. Don't know the details of his contract yet, but I guarantee you it's not cheap. And on top of that, I know what he was mainly finagling for in those contract extensions: staff, and then all of the health, wellness, the preventative injury, like all of those ancillary things that some teams will cut money on. Other teams will pay for the sports performance stuff. He's making sure that those things are in order and taken care of for this franchise. That's one of the reasons why he finally accepted that job. 210-656-3776, 656 ESPN if you want to be a part of the show. Only about 10 minutes left. We're going into the Iron Bowl, college basketball, Auburn and Alabama coming up here in about 15 minutes. But got to take my medicine. Jimmy called in. Jimmy, long-standing Ravens fan, as we were getting ready for that game. Welcome into Extra Innings with pleasure, my man. Run your
Hey,
noise.
Pledge. I know we don't have much time, and there's big news out there. AFC just got a lot deadlier, didn't it?
It did. It's not like it wasn't hard enough. They just decided to drop another landmine in the playing field there.
Yeah, exactly. That's wonderful. But I had the Ravens score prediction. My prediction was 34-21. The Ravens run defense really shocked me. They stood up to Devin Singletary in that line, and they stuffed him all night long. They got pressure on Stroud, no sacks, but they pressured him enough to make him uncomfortable.
No
what do you think
sacks,
was the
but I
biggest thing in that game?
swear it felt like y'all were rushing 7 and dropping 12. It was insane. That was
when I
by
saw
far the
that
best
at the end-
defense I'd seen this year.
Yeah, I agree. And when I got to the end of the game and I saw 0 sacks, I was like, man, that did not feel like a 0 sack game. It felt like we got him a couple times.
That was one of the most heavily pressured games I'd ever felt that CJ Stroud was a part of. And I've seen him be pressured quite a bit this year. But I think it goes to CJ Stroud and just being acutely aware of knowing where things are heading, what's coming from where, and his best option to escape and get rid of the football.
That's what I was
not
most
take negative
impressed
plays.
of. Yes, I was so impressed with Stroud. It felt like the Ravens were blitzing or not. They didn't blitz all that much, but they're getting pressure right away, and he was a step ahead, already moving the pocket himself and getting away from the pressure before it ever really started to accumulate like around him.
I'll tell you what was
gonna be a force.
impressive, more so than even that defense for the Baltimore Ravens. That crowd noise was insane, man. I could hear it through the TV. They definitely contributed to a multitude of pre-snap penalties for the Texans on both sides of the ball.
100%, and I think that's one thing that Texans. I don't think they were ready for that type of crowd noise. I wasn't even ready for that type of crowd noise, and I've heard it before.
They were turned up for that one. That was for sure.
They were. My son just wanted to say something real quick before I let you go, Pledge.
Bring it in.
Don't play.
My guy,
Pledge.
I appreciate you, Jimmy. Congratulations on the win and good luck to you this weekend as y'all get set to take on the Kansas City Chiefs, a game which you can actually catch right here on San Antonio Sports Star. We've got it all weekend long. It starts at 1 o'clock on Sunday. We'll have both games for you. It is all brought to you by Flight by Yingling. Taking a look at some of the big news. It feels weird, like there's a lot of dominoes still left to fall. I think we forget how many openings there were and how few openings there still remain because of promotions. Jared Mayo promoted to the Patriots job, which was open. Antonio Pierce promoted as the Raiders head coach, making right decision there. Brian Callahan taking over in Tennessee just the other day. Now Jim Harbaugh takes the job with the Los Angeles Chargers. That leaves 4 openings remaining in the NFL: Washington, Seattle, Atlanta, and Carolina. I'm terrified because of the amount of second interview requests that Bobby Sloak's getting, that he may be on one of these teams' short lists, especially Atlanta. But I'm hoping Atlanta goes Belichick, maybe. Or even Vrabel, like just away from Sloat. But I would assume they would be looking for an offensive mind to pair with a young quarterback. Washington, I feel like Ben Johnson's the hire there, the Lions offensive coordinator. It makes the most sense to me in terms of Washington, new franchise, possibly new quarterback as you are picking Number 2 in the draft, you are getting Caleb Williams, Drake May, or Jaden Daniels. One of those 3 will be in Washington come April. So with that said, pair young quarterback with young up-and-coming offensive coordinator, and the things that you hear about Ben Johnson are very, very solid. The last 2 get a little bit trickier. Seattle, Cowboy fans kind of hope it's Dan Quinn, I think. Mike Vrabel's name's been attached to it, and then Vrabel's taking a trip to Carolina. Carolina was the really hard one to kind of peg in terms of your quarterback's there. Do you want that quarterback? Because they've already invested very highly in that quarterback. There's not a lot of draft capital in order to build the program up quickly, especially this year. There's offensive line issues, and then you have a very meddling owner with David Tepper. And how do you work with said owner? I think Carolina is going to be the toughest job to peg in terms of who falls where. But initial thoughts: Quinn in Seattle, Johnson in Washington, and either Belichick or Slowick in Atlanta. That would be right now where I lean on the situation as it refers to those open situations. I saw a great question from Goldfinger123 early in the chat. Says, Dak or Fields? Which one would you want? That is a great question because a lot of people are done with Dak. As a matter of fact, earlier today, Jeff Saturday said Dak should go force a trade.
No one has gone out and done everything.
Right.
And I'm going to tell you who should, and that is Dak Prescott. There is no human being in the history of the National Football League. They've been playing this game for 103 years, 104 years. No one has ever had the leverage that Dak Prescott has.
Ooh, I like it.
His cap hit next season is $59 million, and that's the last year of his deal. He has no franchise tag clause. He has final authority on all trades. He has total.
So in short, Jeff Saturday comes in and says Dak should force a trade to Atlanta. Well, if he does, if Chicago is willing to move off Justin Fields, I would not be opposed to a Justin Fields. As a matter of fact, I think Atlanta, with that 8 pick, should look at him. He is bordering in his 3rd year on the top 12 to 15, and his arrow's still pointed up. His players love him. DJ Moore loves him. I think it would be intriguing to find out if they are truly going to go with Caleb Williams at the top of the draft this year and reset the clock on the quarterback again. What the heck, where Justin Fields end up and how bad that makes Chicago look at the end of it. It's going to be super interesting to see. Stephen Youth says, Kellen Moore staying on with Harbaugh? You know what? I don't think so. I would he's a free agent. I would take a look at Greg Roman. Greg Roman is the offensive coordinator that Jim Harbaugh has worked with before in San Francisco, got the most out of Colin Kaepernick. I think with an athletic specimen that can open up more of the passing game, the way that Justin Herbert can, that would be a name I would look for that could possibly be brought on to Jim Harbaugh's staff over there in Los Angeles. Guys, appreciate y'all joining me for Extra Innings with Pledge today. We're about to come into the Iron Bowl, Alabama, Auburn. It is next right here on San Antonio Sports Star 94.1 FM.
This is Compass Media Network's presentation of NCAA basketball.
Strong two-handed pass underneath. And there goes Edey. He went up and under Khalil Ware to flush it with the right hand. Taken away by Lance Jones. Now he'll drive. His land falls. Purdue starting to run it up on the road against Indiana.
Out of the backcourt, around a screen by Moore. Feeds inside Broom. Driving left block. Banks it ahead. Cross-court Sears. Trey on the way. Ring it up. Plays it ahead for KD. Johnson left side. Step back three. Got it.
Welcome to Tuscaloosa, Alabama, where the Alabama Crimson